Greetings, and welcome to the second installment of Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk series. I'm Mythos, and I'm delighted to have you here. In our first video, we covered the campaign preliminaries, leaving you right on the edge of some really exciting content. Just to recap, after successfully completing their mission in Wave Echo Cave, the adventurers returned to Phandalin only to discover the town in a state of turmoil. While they were busy defeating Nazar, goblins led by Ruxathid the Chosen wreaked havoc by committing 4 distinct crimes, prompting your players to investigate. In this episode, we'll explore the details of the Goblins Crime Spree in Phandalin. Let's jump right in. Barthen's Well. The well the goblins vandalized is located behind Barthen's provisions. Years ago, the well was built using materials scavenged from the nearby area, including an obelisk shard, which was used as the drum for the well's winch. Recently, goblins came during the night to retrieve the obelisk shard, destroying the well in the process. But their raid was interrupted by Ander, one of Barthen's clerks. The goblins fled with the shard, jumping into the well and caving in a tunnel so they couldn't be followed to Zorzala's Rest. This escape, however, not only dammed the underground river that provided the well with its water, but also awoke a grumpy Otiug that was feasting on refuse beneath the town. Crime scene. When the characters investigate this crime scene, read the following. The modest red brick well behind Barthen's provisions is dilapidated and crumbling. The well's walls are toppled over, chunks of bricks and stone litter the nearby grass, and the well's roof is splintered and caved in. The well's winch and pulley have been smashed to pieces. A character who inspects the well can make a DC 15 intelligence investigation check. On a successful check, the character realizes that while most of the mechanism could be reassembled from the remaining pieces, the winch's drum is missing. Characters who have a passive wisdom perception score of 15 or higher also hear a low gurgling growl coming from the well. A character who succeeds on a DC 17 intelligence nature check concludes that this growl is most likely coming from an irritated creature. Talking to Ander. Ander is a wide-eyed, fast-talking teenage halfling commoner who works as one of Barthen's clerks. He was taking stock of the store when the goblins destroyed the well. Ander is waiting at Barthen's provisions to talk with the characters when they arrive. He reveals the following information. Base of operations. When Ander chased them off, he heard one of the vandals shout, "Hurry, back to the rest!" The vandals then jumped into the well to flee underground. Description. Ander describes the vandals as strange folk, a bit bigger than me, with long flat ears, big heads, and hands that glowed with strange magic. Dry well. Since the attack, the well has been dry. Ander suspects the vandals dammed the well's water source during their escape. Strange behavior. The vandals arrived at sundown. Strangely, they didn't go after any of the store's stock. Instead, they immediately began destroying the well. The clue. The goblins' comment about retreating to the rest is a clue that could help the characters or Gwyn Orsong determine the name of the goblins' outpost. Helping Ander. Ander mentions that Barthen hopes the party will restore the well's water source, but Ander seems unenthused by the idea. If a character succeeds on a DC 13 Charisma Persuasion check, Ander reveals that every time he's drawn water from the well, he's also had vivid nightmares. Ander believes the well is cursed with bad luck and is happy it's out of service. Unbeknownst to Ander, the water's ill effects were caused by the shard and the winch. These effects no longer plague the well now that the shard is gone. Well Cavern Encounter. Should the characters wish to pursue the goblins or investigate the source of the well's blockage, a character can use a rope to climb down the well with a successful DC 10 Strength Athletics check. If the characters don't have rope, Ander lends them some from the store's stock. On a successful check, a character climbs the 20 feet down into the cavern below the well. Map 5.1 should be on screen now. On a failed check, a character falls, taking 2d6 bludgeoning damage, and has the prone condition. When a character enters the cavern below the well, read or paraphrase the following. The smell of damp earth tinged with acrid rot fills your nose. What looks like the remains of an underground river snakes through this cavern, though a pile of dark rocks blocks its headstream. In the far corner is the source of the scent, a pile of carrion and sewage being dragged by a fleshy, three-legged creature. An Otyugh lurks in the cavern, feasting on a pile of trash it has gathered from the town above. A falling character immediately attracts the Otyugh's attention. Otherwise, a character must succeed on a DC 11 dexterity stealth check to avoid the Otyugh's notice. The Otyugh is hostile to any creature it sees. Cavern. It takes 1 hour for a character to dig out the tunnel. If more characters help, the time it takes to dig out the tunnel decreases by 10 minutes per character, to a minimum of 10 minutes total. The cleared northern tunnel leads eastward to a mountainous outcropping near Zorzula's Rest, though the mining outpost itself isn't visible from the exit of the tunnel. At your discretion, the characters could enter Zorzula's Rest from this point, though they should investigate additional crime scenes first. The second crime taking place within Phandalin is at the Miners' Exchange. During initial construction of the Miners' Exchange, the miners of Phandalin embedded a sparkling shard of obsidian into the building's ceremonial cornerstone. Unbeknownst to them, this shard is a part of the obelisk the Sawpley Goblins seek. A few days ago, Goblins used crude mining supplies stolen from the Miners' Exchange itself to hack the shard from the cornerstone, damaging the building's integrity. Now the Miners' Exchange leans precariously, and the members of the guild are desperate to repair it. Crime scene. When the characters investigate the crime scene, read the following. You hear the snapping of wood beams and grinding of stone as you near the Miners' Exchange, quickly followed by panicked shouts. The structure slants precariously as miners clamber around the building's foundation. Standing to one side is Guildmaster Halia, her expression tense as she barks orders. Guildmaster Halia Thornton leads the building repair efforts. If a character attempts to talk with her, the Guildmaster says tersely that she'll be happy to talk after she's certain the building won't collapse. Repairing the building. Any of the characters can help repair the Miners' Exchange. A character can help hold up the building bulk, pass materials to skilled masons repairing the structure, or use the materials to repair the damage. Each character helping must make a single DC 12 strength check or DC 12 dexterity check, whichever is appropriate. A character who attempts either check, who also has proficiency in a relevant set of artisan's tools, such as mason tools, has advantage on their check. As long as the characters make at least 2 successful checks, they help finish the repairs. If they don't, Halia grows frustrated. She chides the characters for getting in the way. Halia tells them not to bother her again until the miners are finished repairing the building. Alternatively, the characters can choose to help the repair efforts in unconventional ways, using whatever magic or tools are at their disposal. Feel free to adjudicate these unconventional repair efforts as you see fit. Talking to Halia. Once the Miners' Exchange has been repaired, Halia tells the characters what occurred. She gives them the following pieces of information. Lone witness. One evening, a group of goblins attacked the Miners' Exchange. Halia was the only one at the trading post at the time, as the rest of the guild members were drinking at the Sleeping Giant. Stolen stone. Halia fought off the goblins to the best of her ability, but she couldn't stop them from taking a piece of the building's cornerstone. Swapping blows. Halia was injured in the scuffle, so she couldn't pursue the goblins further. She knows she hurt a few of the goblins badly, so they couldn't have gotten far. Strange magic. During the fight, Halia swears one of the goblins pushed her with some kind of magical, invisible force. Following the goblins. Halia had no idea why the goblins were interested in the building's cornerstone. She only knows that a strange, lucky stone embedded into it is now missing. If asked where the goblins fled, Halia points the characters toward the woods south of Phandalin. Encounter at the Goblin Camp. The goblins that attacked the Miners' Exchange are camping in a clearing about an hour's walk from Phandalin. The uninjured goblins returned to Zorzula's Rest with the shard in tow, while the others stayed at the camp to patch themselves up. The makeshift camp, shown in map 5.2, consists of a few tents and a small fire. The camp is situated in the center of a small clearing. As the characters approach the camp, they overhear one of the goblins complaining about their leader in common. "Hope the others made it back, else Ruxathid's gonna have our heads." Currently, 3 goblin Psy Brawlers remain at the camp. A character can avoid the goblins' notice by succeeding on a DC 16 Dexterity stealth check. Otherwise, the hostile goblins detect any creature that enters their camp. If one of the goblins is killed, the others try to surrender. The clue. Eavesdropping on the camped goblins reveals that the goblins' leader's name is Ruxathid. This is the clue that can help the characters or Gwyn or Song discover the truth. Interrogating the goblins. If any of the goblins are captured or charmed by the characters can take the goblins to Phandalin for questioning. If the characters ask, Harbin Wester reluctantly holds the goblins in jail cells at Townmaster's Hall until the characters can uncover what's really going on. What the goblins know. If any of the goblins, whether from the 4 crime scene investigations or from the random mischief occurring around town, are captured, bribed, or charmed by the characters, the goblins may impart some helpful information to the party. A successful DC 13 Charisma, Intimidation, or Persuasion check prompts a goblin to disclose one of the following pieces of information. Duergar Outpost. The goblins are stationed in an old Duergar mining outpost somewhere near here, but underground. Goblin Leader. They are working for a goblin named Ruxathid the Chosen. Ruxathid has a big brain bestowed upon him by what the goblins believe to be mighty gods. Running amok. Some of the goblins have been sowing chaos in town because it's their first time away from the underground home and they're enjoying their freedom. Stealing shards. The goblins have been tasked with stealing shards of an ancient obelisk. They believe this obelisk has the power to destroy Phandalin. Shrine of Luck. Built from materials scavenged from the surrounding wilds, the Shrine of Luck consists of a strange assemblage of rocks and stones. Unbeknownst to the townspeople, one such stone in the shrine originated from the obelisk. This small obsidian shard was a centerpiece in the shrine's archway for years, until a band of goblins came in the wee hours of the morning and plucked it from its perch. This caused the entire arch to collapse atop the shrine, damaging it. Crime scene. When the characters investigate this crime scene, read the following. Once a striking cairn of colorful rocks and offerings to Tamara, this shrine now looks precarious. You see 2 figures attempting to move some of the shrine's larger rocks, the elf sister Garaele and a human girl no more than 10 years old. The young girl working alongside Sister Garaele is Tamara Stonehill, the daughter of innkeeper Toblin Stonehill. Early one morning, Tamara visited the Shrine of Luck to pray with her mother, Trelena. However, as they were walking up, part of the shrine collapsed, and 3 small creatures, the goblins, hurried away from the rubble carrying a stone. Tamara and Trelena have been there ever since, helping Sister Garaele rebuild the shrine. Tamara is sorting through smaller chunks of rubble to find still usable pieces, while Trelena is retrieving food and water at the Stonehill Inn. Sister Garaele. Sister Garaele returned to Phandalin from a Harper mission a few hours after the shrine was vandalized, and as such, she knows little about what occurred. If asked for information, she refers the characters to Trelena and Tamara. Regardless, Garaele is visibly upset that the shrine has been desecrated. She gladly accepts any offers to help rebuild and rededicate the shrine. A character can try to help by making a DC 15 Wisdom Survival, Wisdom Religion, or Dexterity Acrobatics check. On a failed check, the shrine crumbles more and the character takes 1d4 bludgeoning damage from falling rocks. After 3 successful checks, the shrine is repaired. Investigating the scene. Map 5.3 shows the shrine and the surrounding area. Characters searching the shrine for clues find a broken mining pick among the rubble, small, hastily made footprints leading to a nearby alley, and the glint of an axe embedded in the wall of one of the nearby buildings. The clue. A character who examines the axe and succeeds on a DC 17 Intelligence History check recognizes the runes etched into the axe as Duergar in origin. Gwyn Orsong recognizes the rune's origin immediately, and the axe is a clue that can help her lead the characters to Zorzala's Rest. Talking to Tamara. Tamara, a precocious 10-year-old, is focused on rebuilding the shrine. A character can convince her to answer questions while she's working by succeeding on a DC 14 Charisma Persuasion check. Once the shrine has been repaired, Tamara answers the character's questions freely. She knows the following pieces of information. Tamara and Trelena, her mother, visited the shrine at dawn while making their weekly offering to Tamara, only to see the shrine suddenly cave in. Both Trelena and Tamara saw 3 squat shadows hurry away from the shrine after it fell. Tamara swears she also heard a gaggle of shrill voices just before it fell, though she didn't understand the language the voices were speaking. Based on how the stones fell, Tamara figures that someone must have taken the centerpiece of the shrine's rock archway without replacing it. She remarks that the stone was a very pretty, shimmery black color. Being worshippers of Tamara, both Trelena and Tamara can explain the shrine's significance and traditions to the characters if they aren't aware yet. The Sleeping Giant. With the Red Brand's operation curtailed by the characters, the Sleeping Giant is no longer a meeting place for criminals. Most townsfolk are still wary of the place, though a few have started coming to the tavern for cheaper drinks. Beyond its connection to the Red Brands, the Sleeping Giant is known for its collection of curios, amassed from travelers visiting Phandalin. One such curio was embedded in the bar itself, a near-spherical piece of glittering obsidian. Local myth says it's a piece of the petrified giant that gave the tavern its name. In reality, this is an obelisk shard. During the night, a band of goblins broke into the Sleeping Giant, smashed the bar to extract the obelisk shard, and ransacked the kitchen. The bar's owner, a dwarf named Grista, chased the goblins away, but not before the tavern sustained significant damage. Crime scene. When the characters investigate this crime scene, read the following. The taproom of the Sleeping Giant is quiet, save for the occasional thunk of tankard against table. The bar itself is in shambles. The wooden stiles smashed to splinters and the top split in half. Nevertheless, a tall purple tiefling works behind the broken counter, diligently cleaning mugs and plates under the watchful eye of the surly dwarf owner, Grista. Grista gruffly greets the characters. The dwarf makes it clear that she despises Harbin and his attempts to govern the town, but she wants the criminals who destroyed her bar brought to justice. She gives the characters free rein to poke around the tavern as necessary. The only other individual in the Sleeping Giant is the bartender, a nervous tiefling named Wheel of Fortune, who is a new arrival in Phandalin. Investigating the bar. The bar is in splinters, and the tavern's lockbox has been broken open and looted. The characters who investigate the bar spot crudely carved pieces of graffiti under the counter. The clue. The legible parts of the graffiti read, "Zors was here." This is intended to say Zorzala was here, and the goblins left the graffiti in reference to Zorzala's rest. The graffiti is a clue that can help the characters or Gwyn Orsong pinpoint the goblin's lair. Investigating the kitchen. The Sleeping Giant's kitchen area suffered less damage than the bar, but many of the barrels and crates of foodstuffs have been ransacked. A character who succeeds on a DC 15 Wisdom Perception check while scanning the kitchen notices a trail of stray copper and silver pieces on the ground. These coins, stolen from the tavern's lockbox, spilled from the goblin's bag as Grista chased them away. There is a total of 5 silver pieces and 7 copper pieces. Following the trail of coins leads to the tavern's fireplace, through which the goblins fled. Talking to Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune tries their best to help the characters and offers the characters free drinks. If a character accepts a drink from Wheel of Fortune, read or paraphrase the following. In a smooth motion, Wheel of Fortune grabs a clean mug and fills it to the brim. Before handing it to you, the tiefling moves to tap the mug against the counter, only to stop mid-motion and blush sheepishly. Wheel of Fortune explains that there used to be a large shard of black stone embedded in the counter, but it's been missing ever since the raid occurred. The stone supposedly brought good luck, and every time they served a drink, Wheel of Fortune would tap the mug against the stone. A character who succeeds on a DC 12 Wisdom Insight check intuits that Wheel of Fortune is hiding something. When pressed, Wheel of Fortune explains that every drink they poured ended up slightly off in some way. The ale often caused a headache, and the mead shimmered with an oil-slick iridescence. Wheel of Fortune doesn't know how this keeps happening and is embarrassed by their ineptitude, believing they're cursed. Unbeknownst to them, close proximity to the obelisk shard and the counter caused ill effects. Wheel of Fortune wasn't present when the goblins raided the tavern. If asked about the raiders, the tiefling directs the characters to speak with Grista. Talking to Grista. Grista grudgingly shares the following information. Awakened rudely. Grista awoke to the sound of wood being shattered. When she finally climbed downstairs, she saw a group of 5 small creatures destroying the bar and ransacking the kitchen. Churlish children. Grista initially mistook the creatures for misbehaving children due to their stature, but then she noticed their long flat ears and sharpened teeth. They also carried weapons. Damaged bar. Much to Grista's surprise, the creatures didn't steal much food. Instead, they focused on destroying the bar. Fled when chased. She chased the creatures from the bar with a broom. When she did, several of the creatures fled through the fireplace and climbed up the chimney. Rooftop Stash Encounter. This encounter only begins if your characters check out the roof of the Sleeping Giant. When the goblins fled, they accidentally dropped the bag of stolen coins on the roof. Now 3 of the goblins have returned to retrieve the bag. Use map 5.4 for this encounter. If a character follows the trail of coins to the roof, or when the characters decide to finish their investigation at the Sleeping Giant, read or paraphrase the following. A shrill shriek echoes from the roof of the Sleeping Giant. You see 3 goblin figures standing atop the building, muscles tensed in surprise. Green energy crackles around the fists of 2 of the goblins. The third wields a blade of the same energy and hefts a large cloth sack over her shoulder. The goblin holding the sword and the sack is a Goblin Psi commander, and the other 2 goblins are Goblin Psi brawlers. All 3 goblins attack once spotted. During the ensuing combat, the goblins do their best to stay on the roof of the 2-story tavern, using the high ground to their advantage. Once one of the goblins has been defeated, the remaining goblins flee, ditching the bag of coins. Treasure. The bag contains most of the tavern's weekly profit, 10 gold, 14 silver, 17 copper. If the characters retrieve the bag from the goblins and return it to Grista, she is grateful. She offers the characters free meals for a week for their help, though the food isn't the greatest. More to come. Well, that's it. The 4 crimes of the goblins, and all of the clues necessary for your player characters to find Zorzala's Rest, which is where we will be picking things up in the next episode. If you made it this far, thank you for your patience, and I'll see you next time. Remember to keep rolling those dice, and may the odds be ever in your favor.